Hello, everybody. This is Aaron Roy with Teachable. Today, which I just got a sneak preview of Paris James doing a bit of yoga. Today, we have Paris James for an incredible workshop. What a wonderful way to kind of end the week. We're going to get started in just a few moments. Paris, I forgot to tell you, but I'm going to tell you now while we're live. There's like a 20-second delay. So we're going to let folks trickle in. And so, if you ask any questions to the audience, just remember they're slightly behind us.
Okay.
For everyone joining us today, we appreciate you being here. What we would love while we get set up is just let us know where you're joining from. I mean, it'd be great to let us know what you're looking forward to learning today. And let us know where you're joining from, right? I'm in Brooklyn today. Paris, where are you?
I'm in Trinidad.
Yeah, these are
little island in the Caribbean.
Which a beautiful little island. So yeah, let us know you could hear us. Let us know you could see us in the comments. That way we know everything looks and works good before we really switch into this workshop. 1 second here. I'm keeping an eye out for the comments. For anyone, and just a few more technical housekeeping things. For anyone who joins us late, for anyone who perhaps has to or wants to rewind and watch a pose Paris perhaps is doing, there will be a replay available. So, don't worry if this is something that you want to rewatch, all good. And we have some folks joining us. I see that. Hi to whoever's joining us. We have Trinidad as well. We have Placerville, California, Atlanta, GA. That's very, very, very cool. All right, we're going to get started in just a few moments. Let me make sure everything looks good here. Cool. So, Paris, we're going to give folks just a few seconds. But today, one thing I would love is as we start this workshop, some of these folks definitely know you in the audience, but some folks don't. And especially if they're watching on the replay, I hope you're going to start us off with a little bit about your background, all of the wonderful things you've done up to now. That way, we all know a bit more. And I think, we could probably get started. Paris, would you like me to bring your screen up as well?
Yeah, my share screen?
Yes, please.
Okay. Let me just get that.
Cool. We'll get that up.
Is it up?
Nope. I'm waiting for it now.
Okay.
Yep. Once we have that, and like I said before, I'll pop backstage while you go through the part of your presentation today. And if you have anything at all, just say my name and I'll reappear back for you.
Okay, great. Let me just get this up. Where is it?
Very cool to see it's cool to see a bunch of folks from Trinidad joining us today as well. I love that we have the local support.
Okay, it's not showing up in application window anymore.
It's okay. We'll get it in a second. I'm sure it'll appear. Yeah. So feel free to just unclick it, reclick it. It's how it is. We test it in practice, and now all of a sudden it doesn't work.
Okay, let me just do it one more time.
Yep.
I can just shut the whole screen off, so I'm not just go into it.
Exactly. Worst case, we'll do that.
Worst case, yeah.
Thank you, folks. It's a Friday evening, or wherever you are, perhaps it's your Friday morning. Nice. Oh, and hello to who's joining us from Switzerland. It's a very late, probably almost early morning for you. So, Paris, let me see. This looks great. For the love of yoga, it's on screen. I'm going to pop backstage, but like I said, if you need anything at all, Paris, just say my name and I'll be right back.
Okay.
Floor is yours.
So, yay. Hi, everyone. Okay, so this is, hold on, let me just, sorry. Where did my PDF go? Let me just get it back. You're seeing this, Aaron?
Perfectly. Yep. For the love of yoga,
great.
It's perfectly on screen.
And it's swiping, right? Yeah.
Yep. Perfectly.
Okay, great. Okay, yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Paris, and I created the course For the Love of Yoga, and it's basically a way to just try to bring your mind and body into balance. So a lot of people know me as Your Yoga BFF, which is really a funny story. I wrote one of these little ebooks online during COVID, like when COVID struck. And I was home doing nothing, and I was like, you know what? Let me just create a little ebook for y'all to just kind of figure out how to get started with yoga, especially if you're really new to it. And the first line of that book was, you don't have to think about me as like some big yoga teacher. Just think about me as Your Yoga BFF. And that line kind of stuck in my mind when I wrote that book. And it's only after I published the book online that I realized that name was something that I really wanted to keep, because Your Yoga BFF really is what I wanted to represent. As in, I'm just somebody who, is your BFF if you want to start a yoga practice and if you want to learn anything. It's just fun and friendly. And I know sometimes yoga can be really intimidating or the idea or thought of it. So that's just a little story behind Your Yoga BFF. It's not something that that name is not something that I spent months thinking about. It just kind of popped out in the book. So a little bit more about me. So I am from Trinidad and Tobago. So it's a small little island in the Caribbean. I studied at the University of Toronto, actually, and I did a big science degree in biochemistry and neuroscience. And I had this dream at one point in time of working in a lab and doing all of these things. But when I actually started doing that, I was working in an immunology lab. I just didn't feel like, truly happy. I didn't feel like if that was my calling. And I really always had a passion for teaching and helping people and giving advice and all of those things. So when I moved back from Canada to Trinidad, I decided that this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to start doing yoga, but it wasn't about like teaching it. I just wanted to teach myself because I was going through a really rough transition period from going from Trinidad to Canada and then back and not knowing what I wanted to do with my big degree. So I kind of just started practicing and started sharing some pictures online. And then little by little, people started asking me, how did you do this? Like, we can see your transformation. Like, how is this possible? So then I got certified, and then I decided, you know what, let me just start sharing my knowledge. And then it eventually turned into me writing an ebook and creating this course. So you can also check out my Instagram page. I have a lot of tutorials and a lot of like progress pictures that you can check out as well. So let's get straight into what is yoga. So from the first time that I did yoga itself, I actually, to be very honest, was just doing it because of the poses. So it just kind of happened where I saw somebody doing a pose and I was like, oh, I think I can do that. And I tried to get into that pose and I ended up realizing that it wasn't as easy as it looked. So on a superficial level, that is what I wanted. But it's only after that I took the time to actually go into what is behind this pose and everything, including your mindset, your breath, everything. Then I realized that it's really not just a physical practice. So that's where I bring in here what yoga actually means. And the word yoga means to yoke, and that means to basically join your mind, body, and spirit. So it's not just a physical practice. It's not just like, you're going to hop on your mat and do a few like aerobics type exercises. It's way more than that. And I only realized that through my own self-practice. So movement, breath, and meditation are the three aspects of yoga. So with regards to movement, this is the first thing that as soon as you hear the word yoga, everybody thinks, okay, I'm going to just be seeing like a lot of crazy postures and all of these things. So this is the asanas, and asana is basically just a body posture. And it could even be something as simple as lying down. So I know a lot of you probably think you didn't do yoga before, but I'm telling you that you did because just lying down in your bed after a really long day is actually a pose, and that's called corpse pose. Not in any morbid way, but it's just like a pose of rest and relaxation. So it doesn't have to be a crazy posture. It can be something as simple as sitting in a meditation pose. And there are different types of yoga. Hatha yoga, which focuses a lot more on postures. There's vinyasa, which is kind of flowing from one movement to the next. And any of these postures could include things like reclining, which is like leaning back, inverting, being upside down, or twisting and balancing. The next part of yoga is your breath. So I know that our breath has become very automatic to all of us. We actually never take our time to stop and focus on our breath. But your breath, in terms of like a yoga practice, is the control of that breathing. And when you start actually connecting that breath control from your brainstem, which is at the back of your brain, to your cortex, which is at the front of your brain, that helps you become aware of your breath. And it's only when you stop and actually become aware of your breath, that's when we say the magic starts to happen. And in doing this on the mat, you are able to translate that off of the mat. So breathing is very, very important in yoga. It's one of the first things that you learn. And that's when the magic starts happening, because being able to get into these poses and being able to use that breath control, you realize how important your breath is on an everyday basis. And you can use that to apply it to those situations. The last part is meditation, and this is a very intimidating as well, because I know sometimes people think of meditation and they're like, okay, well, I'm not a Buddhist monk. Like, what am I doing? But meditation is actually a practice where you basically just try to center your mind or maybe focus it on a particular object. So meditation is specific to you as a person. If you want to focus on a phrase, if you want to focus on just your breath, or if you just kind of want to relax, let thoughts come up in your mind and then let them go, all of these things contribute to this meditation state. So it's not necessarily that you have to, put on this robe and sit down in this quiet room and chant and do all of these things. It's actually so simple, and it's something that I think everyone listening today can start incorporating in your everyday lives. So this is just some facts, some fun facts here with regards to your Buddhist monks. These scientists actually did a study on these monks who have been meditating for a really long time. And they put these electrodes, like an electrode cap on the brains of these monks compared to like control people who don't really meditate or who haven't practiced that level of meditation before in a scientific experiment. And they found that the monks actually had the highest gamma waves in your brain, which correlates to being happy. So I think there's this, if you search it up, there's this monk who is the happiest man in the world. And that's because he had the highest ever recorded gamma wave. And they could actually see through these electrode systems that the monks were able to go from having a very cluttered mind to just switching it off and being able to relax and being able to have a clear mind. So you can actually see that being recorded as wave activity. And they also found that the brains of these monks actually showed fewer signs of aging, which is crazy because you would never think that something so simple as like a yoga practice can actually have such a profound impact on your brain. And what really excites me as well is actually having a background in neuroscience and then finding this practice simply by coincidence and being able to like marry that into a combination where I can, talk to you all about how important it is to slow down, to meditate, and to have at least a small bit of like yoga in your life. They also found that the monks had younger brains and they were found to be more calm, happy, and purposeful. And like I said before, you don't have to be a monk to attain that. You can incorporate that into your everyday life, this meditation practice, which we'll talk about a little bit later on as well. So as I said before, it's up to you, and it's just your ability to train your mind, but not in a harsh way. Your mind obviously is like a muscle. So I always say that people concentrate a lot on their physical health, but not a lot of the times you focus on your mental health as well. And in the time of like, in this past pandemic and everything that was going on, our mental health was actually put to the test in this situation. So that's why I think having something that you could go back to and something that you could practice and have in your everyday busy, chaotic life is really important, because it trains your mind to be able to stay calm in situations that you're facing, like a lot of challenges. It helps you stay relaxed and centered. And it doesn't matter if you sit down and you're like, okay, I cannot meditate. My mind is like all over the place. Like I haven't reached that point where I could sit down and, go straight into a meditative state. I have a lot of clutter in my mind, as we all do. So it takes practice. So just like it would take practice for you to be able to learn a yoga pose, it takes practice for you to be able to get into that state of trying to center your thoughts and trying to release anything that doesn't serve you at that point in time. So signs of a mind-body disconnect. So if any of you are experiencing these signs, which I think that, at some point in our lives, we do go through this. The first one is constant stress and overwhelm. So if situations seem very stressful for you and you find yourself being a lot more stressed out than usual, that's a sign that your mind and body is disconnected. Also, if you're tired and really fatigued, or if you have muscular pain. So this is another thing I wanted to bring up. Pain is actually something that happens in your brain as well. And if you feel tired, restless, unmotivated, or if you feel like you are moving on autopilot, and if that corresponds as well to you having like neck pain or back pain or pain in your hips, and you just can't seem to find a good posture, that might not be simply because of stiffness in your body. a lot of people believe, and it's actually tested as well, that if you suffer from any stress, or if you just don't have that connection between your mind and body, you actually store like your emotions or store all of this stress in your joints. So this is another reason I will talk about later, that yoga can actually help get that connection back, because you're able to move and you're able to release that tension that's stored in your joints. The third thing is, of course, a lack of purpose. If you don't find anything that inspires or motivates you. So a lot of people, they come to my classes and they feel like, like not inspired by their everyday lives. And then they start doing these classes or start like doing my course that I'll talk about later on as well, is that it gives them something to go back to after a really long, stressful day, or even to start your day with. So that's the thing about yoga. You don't have to spend like 1 to 3 hours a day, trying to get this state and trying to be like, okay, yeah, I am going to release all of this pain and tension in my life immediately. Something as simple as 5 to 10 minutes is all that you need. And in my course, I actually break down the poses and everything that you'll be able to look into and start as a beginner to get into that. So your mind and body, that connection is the belief that the causes, development, and outcomes of a physical illness are not just determined by what is happening in the physical body, but it also includes your emotional health as well. So a lot of people sometimes think that yoga is just a physical practice. They're like, okay, well, do I choose between yoga? Do I choose between yoga and Zumba or aerobics or lifting weights? So the thing is, there's no either or. You can do all of those things, but my advice would be to incorporate just a little bit of that yoga in your everyday routine. So it's not something that you simply have to stop everything you're doing and, quit the gym, give up your gym membership and, start this whole journey. Like, it's not like that. It's just something that you could include that will be able to cover both your physical and your mental and emotional health as well. So yeah, just to reiterate, it's not just a physical practice. It's movement, breath, meditation, and the union of your mind and body. So yoga is a form of moving meditation as well. So if you don't feel like you could sit down in one place and have that meditative state, yoga is a moving meditation. So that's what I learned to doing it as a self-practice, that it was really easy for me to come back home from a long day, be really frustrated, but then to find my place on the mat and just move. So like 1 sun salutation, 2 sun salutations, and you kind of just get out of that chaotic world. And it's so easy when you get into it. You'll start realizing how easy it is to just turn that off and just kind of focus on your breath and yourself. So that's why yoga itself is a form of movement meditation. So yeah, my story, I first wanted to do it, for all these crazy poses. And then I realized that it's not really about that. But of course, there are benefits of every single pose that you'll be doing throughout this practice as well. If you want to just do beginner, that's fine. In my course, I do have beginner courses. And then towards the end, we have like bonus features where you'll be able to do a little bit more advanced stuff, or at least work your way up to it. So these are just some pictures I had when I first started. So you can see the first picture is a forward fold. My hamstrings were really tight. My back was really curved. My posture wasn't really, that great. And now I just found that length in my body and that length in my posture. My hips have also opened up a lot from, you can see in the then and now picture of these splits. And also in the dancer's pose picture, like my hips and quads have completely opened up. And I've only been doing this for about 3 years now. So I didn't have any background in dance. So these are some of the first pictures I ever started off. So I could barely touch my toes in that first picture on the top left, and even on the right as well. Like I could not touch my toes. I was compensating for my lower back. If you look at the picture in the bottom right, I was trying to just, aim for the pose, and that wasn't really healthy because you could see that my back is not aligned here. And if you look at that warrior 2 pose, my hips were not open enough to make sure that like my right knee in that picture should have been like, a 90 degree, or at least I should have like bent it in a little bit more to not compensate. So I don't have any background. It's just to show you like where I started off from. And some of the myths that we often encounter in yoga, which I think I have to like debunk, is that you have to be flexible to start yoga. And I'll just kind of go back to this. You really don't. you can start, that's like saying you have to be a swimmer to learn how to swim. And that's the analogy I love using, because you obviously, like if you're learning to swim, you obviously don't know how to swim, right? So you don't have to be flexible as a prerequisite to start yoga. And there's not any age limit to starting yoga. I actually have people in my classes who are like 80 and who are in the best shape of their lives, you know. So there's no like age requirements. You don't have to be like super young. You know, you can start it at any point in time. And a lot of the times I always get, you know, I weigh too much, yoga is for skinny people. And that really like bothers me to a core level, because it really isn't like that. It's not this exclusive thing. And a lot of times we get caught up in the aesthetics of it. But it's really not like that. You can do it. Anybody can do it. Any age, any weight, any size. That myth needs to just not be a thing. Fourth one is yoga is just stretching, or it's too easy. And well, like you heard from me in the first part of the webinar, that is really not just stretching. Of course, it's a way to stretch, to lengthen, to de-stress your body, but it's not just stretching. Like, it's not like, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna do a stretch. It's not like that. Of course, this one is for all the guys. I don't know if we have any guys in the webinar right now, but yoga is for girls only. That is a myth. It's not. I have some really strong guys in my class as well. And a lot of people who I've just read their stories online that like they were, you know, they came back from the war, or they were injured, or just regular people, men who found the love of this practice. So it's not just for girls only. And yoga will never make you strong is another myth, because not only will yoga make you physically strong, but it also has that aspect of like being mentally strong and emotionally able to deal with everything that's going on as well. So that's just the myths that I often hear. So this is my course. It's for the love of yoga, beginner's guide to starting a yoga practice. And I'll just give you a brief overview before we get back into it. There's over 40 instructional videos. There's guided breathing and meditation. There are videos for flowing, and then of course there's introduction for your splits, inversions, and arm balances towards the end. I've also given you the 2 ebooks with over 100 pages of information on how to get started. And if you love the videos but you want something more tangible, there's also comprehensive like PDFs on all of the poses, the cues, and their benefits. So if you want to know like what benefits of each pose, I have full PDFs that cover everything. There's also a 28-day instructional guide to actually help you get in on this practice. So if you feel like overwhelmed, which you shouldn't, because the course is like really easy to follow. But if you do, there's a 28-day guide. So it breaks down like, you know, today I'll start with these 3 poses, and it kind of gives you a guide on how to do that. You also get access to the Your Yoga BFF Facebook group if you want to share your progress and have any tips. I personally will be on that group answering any questions as well. Okay, so we have 3 demonstrations, mini demonstrations today. And the first one is, of course, movement. So these are asanas. So you can have different ones like standing, seated fold, happy baby, which is the 3rd one lying down on your back. You could have twists, arm balances, back bends, balancing poses, again, just like on your feet. And then you could have inversions. So now it's time for my demonstration. Aaron, are you there?
I am.
Yes, you're here. Okay, so this is like a demonstration. Yeah, so basically, I just want to demonstrate that yoga can be done anyhow, anyway. So Aaron is going to help us out here, and you all can do it at home if you want. So I'm just going to move my stool back.
I'm ready for whatever.
You're ready. Okay, so something as simple as inhaling, like lifting your arms all the way up. So feel free to join me if you want. So Aaron, let's go. Inhale, reach all the way up. Very good. So we're on our chair, we're at our work desk. You feel tight at any point. Let's interlace our hands. And on the inhale, we're going to reach as high as we could. And on the exhale, we're going to just lean to one side. So feel free to do this. And this is a really good pose that you could do at work if you feel like really tight.
I got to do this more during the day.
Yeah, reach all the way back up, and always remember that you inhale to lengthen the body and exhale to get deeper. So you always inhale, reach up, and let's exhale down to the next side, Aaron. Yeah, down to the next side. Very good. And you keep that length in your spine and come all the way back up. Another really nice shoulder stretch is a shoulder bind. So you're just going to bring one hand up and cross the next hand underneath it, just so that your palms touch. Yeah, just like that, right? So you could be, people are going to see you at work doing this now. Take a nice shoulder stretch here, and let's reverse, come out of it. And this is eagle arms, if you'll want to look up on it. Yeah, you just cross under and then flip the palms so that they almost touch. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Lower, side by side.
Very good. And then you could do one for your back. So you could hold on to the chair. Actually, I have a mini stool here, and you could just twist towards the back. Yeah, take a nice twist. And you can already feel yourself relaxing. If you take the time to just inhale and exhale in it and come out of it. And let's do the next side. Yeah, you can hold on to the edge of your chair.
A lot of stretching
Very
here.
good. Yeah, let's do two more. So this one is for your hips. So I don't know if you could do this one. We're gonna cross the in that chair, but you could cross one leg over the other, and then you're just gonna take a nice little fold over it. And as soon as you fold over it, you're gonna feel that tension going in your hips.
Hard.
No, you can do it. I believe in you. Just cross one leg over, like if you were crossing your feet, and just reach down.
Got it.
This is a figure 4 stretch. This is amazing for your hips because we actually spend so much time sitting down that we don't get a chance to, stretch our hips. And you have to do the next side. Don't be one-sided.
Gotta switch.
like me, you gotta switch. And fold. So you all could try this one. This is a really good one if you're at your work desk. Don't worry, people are gonna be jealous and they're gonna come up and be like, how can I do this as well? Great. So that was our little mini demonstration for our inhales and exhales, lengthening the spine, the back, the shoulders, and the hips. So you did really good. How do you feel?
Honestly, I feel fresher. That was great.
Great.
I hope I know folks at Teachable, some folks followed along. So hopefully they feel good.
Okay, great. Are you also seeing my screen? I know I took it off for the demonstration.
Oh, I see it up. You're on the demonstrate chair, and now you're on the how can this help?
Right. So those were easy, like poses that we did that you could do at your work desk.
The thing is, your camera's pointed slightly down. So could you just bring your perfect?
You see me now?
Perfect. Yep.
Okay. Right. So what I showed you before was some easy poses that you could get into. But then there are challenging poses as well. And even in general, all of these poses or these asanas or movements, you want to know, like, how does it help translate from on the mat to off of the mat? So let's take the handstand, for instance. The first thing that's going to happen is you have a change in perspective. So a lot of the times you're obviously walking on your feet, but being able to do inversions, and even this is just obviously the most extreme form of it for this example, but something as simple as a downward dog could have that change in perspective as well, because you're looking back and you're able to just change your perspective or change how you view things, and that immediately translates to how you can see things in a different way off of the mat. So you'll also be able to get full body control, strength, and flexibility. And this is a really good combination because a lot of times with like different physical activity, you just focus on strength, but strength, flexibility, and mobility is what you get in this whole practice as well. You also have that mental control. So being able to get into any posture, no matter how simple or how challenging, will help you overcome any mindset that said in the beginning, I can't do this. Because when you do eventually overcome it, and the thing is, the journey is what matters and not necessarily the end pose. So don't get too caught up in the end pose. But that journey of trying to get into a pose and then eventually nailing it is going to help strengthen your mindset as well. So in doing this on and off the mat is a principle I love to use that yoga translates on and off of the mat. We learn to breathe in difficult situations, not just on the mat, but off the mat as well. We also learn never to give up. So a lot of times if you start practicing, you're like, I can't do this. But then you somehow find your way back onto the mats, and then you realize, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to try again, even if it's just 5 minutes. And that translates off your mat as well. And you also learn to push past your boundaries and challenge yourselves, and of course, get back up when we fall. So this is one of my favorite quotes. by Aaron Hanson, and it's "There is freedom waiting for you on the breezes of the sky." And you may ask, what if I fall? Oh, but my darling, what if you fly? So that is like, I just love that quote so much because it speaks it speaks volumes. You're always afraid of what if I fall? That's everybody's first question. Like, what is the negative? But oh, my darling, what if you fly? Like, what is the positive of it? So when you're approaching it, don't ask, okay, I'm so scared. What if I fall? Just think about what would happen if you actually fly, or if you actually, no, not physically fly. You all know what I mean, but actually get through it. Okay, so we have breath now. So breath, yoga teaches us to slow down our breathing, and this transforms everything in our bodies, lowers our heart rate, improves your lungs, and so much more. So when you're anxious and nervous, it triggers your sympathetic nervous system, and this increases stress hormones like cortisol. And cortisol is really, really terrible, very damaging to our bodies. It leads to high blood pressure, sleep disruption, it impacts your mood, and so much more. But when you do mindful breathing, it actually activates your parasympathetic nervous system. And this part of your brain tells your body to just chill out and relax. So the more we slow down our breathing, the more we activate the parasympathetic nervous system, and the more in tune we feel with our bodies. So conscious breaths, it can be something as simple as having ratios. So you can inhale you can inhale for a count of 3 and exhale for a count of 4, or you could do inhale 4, exhale 6. Or if you're really, really well versed in this practice, because breath, like the physical practice, is also something that you have to practice. Some people can actually go up to 8 on the inhale and 8 on the exhale, which is, you have to lie down for that and make sure that you fully breathe into your diaphragm and everything. But something as simple as inhaling for 3 and exhaling for 4 can really help to activate the parasympathetic nervous system in your body. So this is a tip that you can use on and off the mat as well. If you just exhale for a few counts longer than your inhale, the vagus nerve, which is running from the neck down towards diaphragm, actually sends a signal to your brain, and this is proven to increase the parasympathetic rest and relax system, and to decrease the sympathetic or stress related response. So if you are on the mat and you're experiencing challenging pose, just exhale for a little bit longer than your inhale. And if you are in an everyday situation, like you're in an exam, or you have some huge presentation to give, you can just exhale for 1 or 2 counts longer, and that is enough to actually signal that system in your brain. So I really love telling people that this is something that they could practice immediately. So if there's one thing I want you all to take from this webinar, is that something as simple as exhaling for 1 count longer can actually help you feel more relaxed. So if you suffer from anxiety or depression or stress, this can be really helpful. So benefits of yoga. So yoga, it reduces your stress and anxiety. It activates your parasympathetic nervous system. It could tame your overactive mind. It's also found to increase your brain power and the function of your brain. And they found that a 20-minute session has a really big impact on your ability to focus and retain information. So if there's any students or anyone who is studying or doing anything like that who's watching this right now, yoga can actually increase your ability to retain information. It also prevents age-related decline. So a lot of people say that the fountain of youth actually comes from having a yoga practice. It helps you look and feel a lot younger. And the scientific evidence behind that is that we have these chromosomes in our body, and it's proven that yoga, which is a combination of meditation, breath, and physical, can actually help to keep our chromosomes long and healthy. And if the chromosomes are long and healthy, you actually look a lot younger, because the chromosomes tend to shorten as you age. But of course, if you have a consistent practice, it will retain its length and therefore its power to keep you looking young and conquering the world at 80 years old. Right? It also increases your respiratory system, and it increases the amount of oxygen that you're able to uptake. And of course, the more oxygen your body has, the more your organs can function. So overall, it's like whole body. That's why I always like stressing that it's not just like physical, it's your entire body. It also stimulates the production of wider blood vessels. So if you have wider blood vessels, you're able to maintain that system of like circulation a lot more. And you will also not have that problem with like too much clogged arteries as you grow older or anything like that, because it completely transforms your cardiovascular and respiratory system. Also your lymphatic system, which is your immune system, which everyone should be looking to boost these days. It actually helps with that because the lymph system has no pump. So whereas like your heart has a pump and it pumps your blood around, the lymph system, which is the system that drains our body of like all of these toxins and all of these waste products, that system has no pump. So we have to rely on movement to be able to detoxify our bodies. And a lot of times yoga incorporates like movements like twists and folds, and that is actually helping your organs detox and helping you drain that lymph fluid from your body. So it really increases your ability to have a better immune system as well. Also your digestive system. I'm a firm believer that if you're going through a period in your life where you find like you're not losing weight or you just have weight that refuses to go, it's probably not just because of what you're like eating, of course, has to do with it and your level of activity. But sometimes it's a lot more internal. It's like your systems are not operating in the highest gear or level that it can be. So that's why like yoga actually helps your digestive system run a lot more, like a lot smoother. So that is also something really good if you look into like increase your metabolism and detox your body. That is something that is like really, really good for that. So having a self-practice, especially in a time where, you know, gyms and studios might be closed, is very, very simple. There's a lot of information on this from the book that's going to be in the course. So the first thing you have to do is, of course, decide that you want to practice. Clear a space for yourself. You can get comfortable. You're at home. You don't have to dress up in any fancy yoga gear to go out. You can get a mat, something simple. You can get a mirror if you want feedback from your poses. You could go get this course, of course, which has both like the ebooks and the videos. And just set aside some time if you feel like you're better off practicing in the morning versus in the evening. And all you have to do is just get on your mat. And I know it might be hard sometimes, and sometimes there's going to be days where you don't want to, but eventually your body will start craving it and you'll always come back to it. So some tips as well is to like have your practices in an area where there are no distractions. So don't go and set up your area in like the living room where everybody's watching TV, or in the kitchen, of course, where people are just gonna come in and out. You can get some nice decor. So anything that inspires you, get like a nice picture or a plant or just something that really inspires you to, you know, go to that area and find like a safe zone there. You could also get a mirror or camera for feedback. And always remember that you have to invest in yourself, like your body and your mind. Like this is what's getting you through life. And that should really be a top priority for you. Other tips include coming from a place of love and acceptance of your body. This is not going to happen overnight. And you really have to just learn to love and accept yourself as you are, and then grow into that like better, more beautiful version of yourself through just that acceptance initially. Another thing you want to do is not have any expectations. So in all of my classes, I always make sure to say, take a nice deep breath and release any expectations that you have. Because if you come into the mat expecting that you're going to nail this pose, or you're going to do these things, you're not getting the opportunity to learn as a student, because you have all of these expectations, and that will block your mental and your physical state as well. Also important is to not compare yourself. Everybody's bodies are physically different and made up in different ways. So just because you can't nail a pose faster than somebody else doesn't mean that anything is wrong with you. Like there's like a few people who come to my classes and they are beginners, but they can do a forward fold without any practice. And I'm like, damn, it took me so long to, you know, be able to touch my toes. And that's because our bodies are different. So don't compare, because that would just ruin everything for you. Another tip is to understand that you are always a student. So when you come to the mat, even if you've done a sun salutation like 10 times, you come and you act as if that's the first time that you're on the mat. And that's the only way that you will grow and that you will learn, even if you hear a teacher say the same thing over and over again, right? And lastly, of course, is that the feeling counts. And it's not just about the aesthetics of it, as I said before, or how something looks, but it's more about how do you feel when you do this? Like, how do you feel? It mightn't even look like the prettiest pose in the book, but how does it feel? And that's something that you need to focus on, which in turn will help you tune into your emotions as well. Stay motivated. I know that's like everybody's biggest question, but how do you stay motivated? How do you go on your mat? And it's just simple tips. And that's like setting goals for yourself. Like, I'm going to do 1 sun salutation on Monday. I'm going to do 2 on Tuesday. I'm going to do 3 on Wednesday. And each time you hit those little goals or milestones, you're able to get through a little bit more like consistently with your practice. So setting small goals and not like, okay, yeah, on Monday I'm going to do 10 sun salutations, and then you don't end up doing it and you feel really crushed. So it's better to set small goals and keep working your way up. Also, to make sure that you keep your mat out. My mat is actually right behind me. And I do have one in my bedroom as well, like just laid out on the floor. I have everything like shoved in one corner because to me, it's important to keep my mat out so that when I want to practice, it's right there. I don't have to be like, all right, let's start moving the bed. Let's start moving the plants. Now rolling out our mats. And then it just doesn't work that way if you want to stay motivated. Also, be patient with yourself. Like I said, it's not going to happen overnight. There's going to be times where you don't want to do it, where you feel like you don't want to do like even 5 minutes. So be patient and take breaks. And also progress pictures are really good because I didn't know this was going to turn into a whole yoga thing. When I just started, I was just kind of taking pictures for myself. But now it's so inspiring to go back and to see where I started. And that also inspires everyone else as well. So another tip for being motivated, and this is something else I want you all to take from this webinar, is the Mel Robbins 5-second rule. And this is, if you have an instinct to act on a goal, you must physically move within 5 seconds or your brain will kill that instinct. And there's like a whole book on this rule. So it basically means that if you want to do something, or you say, okay, I want to practice yoga now, you have to do it within the 5 seconds. So you have to say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and just go. Like just physically start moving towards your mat or moving towards practicing. And this can apply in your everyday life. That 5 seconds, your brain will kill that instinct if you don't act on it. So the moment that you feel that instinct rise up or a desire to do something, use that 5-second rule, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and just go. So, you know, even if you have work that you need to finish for school or for a job, or you're lazy to get that water, but you know, you have to stay hydrated, 5-second rule, and that is going to get you up and about and moving, and you'll be really glad that you did. So this is the next thing that I want you all to take away as a small tip. And of course, the time to relax is when you don't have time for it, which is the exact time that you should be. So don't use the excuse of, oh my gosh, my day was really big. My day was really like long, and hard. There's simple things that you could do, like just lying down on your bed. If you lie down and you face like your bed head or your wall and you keep your legs up, so just picture it like you're lying down and your legs are up on your wall. Something as simple as that is an amazing relaxing pose. So don't make the excuse of that your day was really tiring and you can't do it, because that's when you need it the most. And meditation is the last aspect of it. And like I said before, it's personal. You could focus on one thing, an image, a phrase. You can use meditation tips like affirmations and gratitude, which I like doing as well. We'll do a little demo after. I'll call back Aaron for that later on. But then we learn to observe our thoughts as well and let them pass. So a lot of people think that being positive or being really like a good person or having your life together means that you don't have any negative thoughts, and that's not true. It's just that you have to give yourself space to actually experience those thoughts and those emotions, and you have to be able to observe them and let them pass. So don't physically force anything away and don't ignore them. You actually just have to sit with yourself in that. Benefits of meditation, besides having that increase in happiness like the Buddhist monk, it reduces your pain, enhances your immune system, reduces feelings of depression, all of these negative emotions, increases your blood flow, slows your heart rate, It helps you to observe and sort out any jumbled thoughts that you have, and it dramatically reduces your stress levels. So we will do a little meditation scan now. So Aaron, if you want to pop back on.
I'm here.
Okay, so we're just going to take a few breaths. So just relax. Just try to clear your mind. Yeah, shake it off.
I'm ready.
All right. So you're just going to, if you want, you could close your eyes, and anybody doing this can do it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want you to take a quick scan of your body. I know this is hard because you're doing this live on air, but it's just a simple thing you can do is just close your eyes, relax, get into that state where you're able to just observe your breath so it doesn't become automatic. You actually kind of focus on the inhale. So you could start inhaling for about 2 counts and exhaling for 3. So we could do it together. So you could come to the bottom of the exhale, and then we're going to inhale for 2, 1, and exhale for 3, 2, 1. We'll do one more. Inhale for 2, 1, and exhale for 3, 2, 1. And in this time, as you're feeling relaxed and continue with that breath on your own, you could start scanning your body to see if there's any tension or any pain. So if there's pain in your back or pain in your hips, you could start slowly breathing into that and trying to release it. You could also picture it as a stream of light that is flowing through your body and kind of just going in all of the areas where you feel pain. And pain might not really be in your body alone. It might be in your mind. So it's a lot nicer when you lie down and relax at the end of a class. But as you breathe, just try to feel that light flowing through your body as like a light of gratitude. And you could say it in your mind, just one thing that you're grateful for. And if you're looking at this as well, you could try it. Just close your eyes, start inhaling for 2, exhaling for 3. Feeling actually feels like everything around you gets a lot quieter. And you just relax into it. You feel the tension draining away from your body. You start releasing on the exhales, and maybe just quietly in your mind, just saying what you're grateful for, and feeling that light of gratitude go all the way through your body from the top or the crown of your head straight down into your toes. And that's something that you could practice. So I don't know if you all did it with me, but how are you feeling so far, Aaron?
I feel great. This was I needed that.
Yeah, it's a really small thing. You could just close your eyes, inhale for 2, exhale for 3, scan your body. So it's your body. You have the ability to scan and see where, like what areas, need some breath or some extra work or attention. And then something like the gratitude scan is another good thing that I like doing in my classes, where you're able to say, what are you grateful for? And then people can see it in their minds, and then they can picture that gratitude flowing all the way through their body. So that was just a little demonstration of both the breath and the meditation. You could take that as well with you. And now, just to end off this webinar, I'll just get into the course again. So this course is the beginner's guide. And like I said before, everything here is included, as well as these modules. So module 1, you'll learn a little bit about me, why I got started, and a brief introduction to yoga, a little bit about the history, benefits, types of yoga. And then you get my 2 ebooks, which give you like an in-depth look at the various styles of yoga, comparison between going to a gym, studio, at home, how to schedule your practice, set up your yoga space. And you actually get a printable schedule as well. And that would help you plan your yoga practice if you feel like you don't know how to get started. So those things are also included. Module 2 is breath and meditation. So similar to what I did, it'll be a guided meditation, as well as prompts that you can use every month. So meditation prompts, if you don't know what to focus on and you just got started, that's really good. Module 3, you learn like these poses here. Of course, if this is new to you, this is going to look like, what are these words? But you will actually learn to sequence these poses and put them together for flows. Module 4, you learn these poses here, and you are introduced to sun salutation B. Module 5 and 6, you learn all of these poses here listed here. So triangle, pyramid, sphinx, camel. Of course, like you might not know what these things are right now if you have just joined in and you don't know anything about yoga, but I go through it very easily in this course. Module 7, it's your inner flow. So if you want to start putting these moves together, these flows will cover nice flows that you can use for your arm strengthening, your core strengthening, a hamstring flow to open up those legs, and a relaxing yin flow, which is nice for bedtime. You will also get module 8, which is introduction to splits, arm balances, and inversions. So you will get like all of the knowledge on how to start your yoga practice and how you could actually continue on to a little bit more challenging stuff if that's what you like as well. You get your 28-day plan. So day 1, for instance, it starts off really, really easy. I give you like what poses to do on each of these days and how long to hold them for, and you will start feeling what it feels like to have a consistent yoga practice. Also, you will see at the top here, 15 Ujjayi breaths, 5 sun salutations, and a 10-minute meditation. So this is included in your daily schedule as well. And you will learn about the Ujjayi breaths from the course as well, which is a really, really good breath to practice. So this course is a lifetime access. So you're going to have it forever. There's a money back guarantee as well. If you're not happy within the 30 days, there's also the private Facebook group, and it's discounted now from $150 to $57 just for a limited period of time. How to enroll, you can use PayPal or Visa if you want, and you just have to click buy now, and it's going to send you to an email, which is going to allow you to set up your account and access your course. So this is how it's going to look. You're going to see like a little progress bar at the side, and you're going to have all of these videos here. So this is module 1, and you can just click the little thing at the side that says start, and this bar, is going to load as you go on throughout the course. So this is how the instructional videos look. I tell you everything you need to know about the pose, and of course there are PDFs. If you look at the side, you see PDF for module 5, beginner standing poses. You actually get really in depth in those PDFs as well if you kind of want something to read and look back at. So yeah, it's discounted for 1 week. So let me know if you guys have any questions, and you know where to find me. I'm on Instagram. You can email me, and that is the website, practice.theparisjames.com. So yeah, love always, your yoga BFF. And thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this webinar. And thank you, Aaron, for helping me with my demos.
Paris, that was great. And so before we go, we're going to leave time for a little bit of Q&A. I just posted in the YouTube chat the link to Paris's course. So once you just mentioned, it's also available in the YouTube description. Also, if you're watching this on a replay or you're behind us, we're going to also email this link out as well. So have no fear, that we'll make sure that link's out there. One thing I wanted to ask, having watched this today is, could you speak a bit about like who you think, like what level of expertise do you think your class is best for? Because like I've done a few yoga classes, but like a lot of poses you've named, no idea how to do. I'm not that comfortable. Can you speak?
Yeah. So I do have live classes as well. So the thing about the whole brand that I've created with Your Yoga BFF is that I am very like friendly in all of my classes. And so people from all levels are actually able to come, because people who are beginners, I would demonstrate and go through every single thing from the beginning and work your way into it. So I'm very like intuitive into like how somebody's practice is. As soon as they walk in, I can already tell, okay, I know what areas are tight, and I actually demonstrate it every single class. There's never going to be a class where somebody walks in with me and I'm like, get into Cobra, So it's very like Your Yoga BFF. That's why I want it to be like a brand that people could always come back to, because I'm very approachable, I'm very friendly, and advanced people can also come to my class as well, because I offer modifications. So if I say, okay, well, this is for beginners, and I would demonstrate that, and I would say, and if you want to challenge yourselves a little bit more, here's what you can do. So I make my classes accessible to all levels. If you're ever interested, I do have, classes.
Cool, that's very helpful. And before we get to some more questions, I know we're coming up on the hour. For everyone who's with us and who watched the presentation, please, I saw someone already thanked you, but let Paris know in the chat you appreciate her, because we do appreciate you doing this today. I mean, you did just cover a bunch of stuff, and you also gave me some free yoga lessons. So let Paris know in the chat you appreciate her, and we appreciate you joining us.
Thank you for coming.
Of course. Another question I had is, like, as you progress on this yoga journey, like what role does like the community play, right? Because you mentioned access to your community. Is there a lot of
Right.
support for like as someone grows on their journey, like
Yeah, I feel
help?
like when I started, I started privately, like, by myself in my room on like this really old mat, like by my bed. And I feel like I just wished that I had somebody to ask questions. I would want to ask these simplest questions, like, should my heels be down in downward dog? Like these simplest questions. And it's like, I looked at so many videos and people don't conversationally talk about these little cues. So like, I feel like I would have loved if I had somebody to just little tweaks in your practice, or even somebody to be like, I'm not going to dispose at all. Like, can you share it with me from your perspective? So that's why I always encourage people to share their progress pictures or ask any questions, because everybody's bodies are different and you're going to have different ways to approach things. So, you could have a tip that I would not have known. So that's why I think like community is very important. And there's also a lot of love in the yoga community for people who started off and people who've progressed. And you'll see that like everybody is just so nice and so supportive. So I think community is very important, because I felt really isolated when I started like 3 years ago. So that's why I've made sure that like people can ask at any time.
No, and that's awesome. And so in the community, obviously you could share back the photos and get feedback, because it's obviously
of course.
Great. Well, folks, we're going to stick around for another minute or two if anyone has any last questions. One more question that I had from today is, you briefly covered meditation, and right, like, I think the relationship between the two, everybody has like a different opinion. Can you speak more about that? Like how you got into it? Because, obviously it was wonderful to have a chance to meditate for a few seconds and kind of do a self scan. But I think many of the yoga classes I've attended, at least here in the States, we do a little bit like, we kind of skip that and then you leave like just as stressed out. So that was a nice touch. Yeah, that was a nice touch.
So basically what I did with you, I do is in the last, like it's in every single class, how my classes are structured. We always start with dedicating breaths. So we dedicate 3 breaths to offer up any intentions that we have. So I always like to dedicate your practice to something. And like I said, if you've practiced 100 times, every time you come onto the mat, it's different. So I give you the chance to dedicate your practice to something, to a goal, to yourself, to someone in your life. And then after that, we go through, the physical aspect of it. But I always love ending with meditation, because when I first got into it, like I said, I was only interested in the pose. And then I realized the importance of meditation, and I kind of wanted to get into it, but it was hard, intimidating. And then I just started to think about it as just relaxing, releasing tension, and focusing on like things like affirmations and gratitude and self-love. And people love that. Like a lot of people just love the ending of my classes, because they're like, wow, like, you move and you sweat and you detox and then you relax. And it's not just lying down in like your shavasana or your ending pose and just having like silence. I like to guide them through this. So I think every class should have that. Yeah. Marie said, when I do it, I sleep like a baby. Yeah, a lot of people sleep. Yeah, a lot of people sleep better. So I think that should be breath, meditation, and yoga should be combined together, because it's not just like, let me just go and sweat. It's let me bring myself back into balance using that physical and ending with breath. So that's how my classes. Oh, I can't see it any other way. Like, I have to like give them something to go home with.
I think that's wonderful. And with that, I mean, we could end on that note. We appreciate everyone being with us today. Paris, thank you for guiding me through this, and thank you for giving me a few moments to meditate myself and do a self-scan. Those are really lovely thing to be a part of today. So thank you, everyone. We're going to sign off in just a few seconds. We appreciate everybody. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you. Bye.